Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the final college hour of the semester. Save the best for last, of course. I am a little bit biased, which is why I may have worn my prize shirt. I am Christina Casper-Denman from the Anthropology Department and also from the Center for Teaching and Learning, who is sponsoring this event. And we do college hours on Thursdays from 12:15 to 1:15. Super excited to be with you to help promote Prize. So for those of you who don't know what it's about, you're going to learn everything and more. The fun thing is I just got to tell the director of Prize that I'm part of the program for fall. So if it is a surprise, I put the surprise in the prize. So I'm so excited that we're here to share a little bit of culture for Asian Pacific Island Heritage Month, which we change the names all the time. Sometimes we're Apita, sometimes we're Anapisi, but most importantly, awesome. That's what we have today. So what we're going to do is a little bit of presentation and a whole lot of information and then questions at the end. Yeah. Perfect. So please welcome the panel for Prize.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. We have lots of people you get to hear from today. I'm just the first person to talk. But hi, my name is Jessica Mao. I am this year's counselor and coordinator for Prize. I'm also new to ARC. This is my first year here. But I'm going to let the rest of the team introduce themselves. We'll just start over here.
Hi everyone, I'm Caroline Prieto, teaching English. I've been working with Prize since spring of 2019, like on and off.
Hello everyone, my name is Ariana. I started out as a student peer mentor in spring 2024 and now I'm an SSA. Yeah.
Hello everybody, I'm Sammy. I was initially a Prize member and then peer mentor and now I'm an SSA.
Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Delhanam and I am a peer mentor here at Prize since the start of the school year.
Hello everybody, my name is Ethan Lee. I was a Prize student before I became a peer mentor at Prize.
Hi everybody, Mark Carnero here, Department Chair of Ethnic Studies, and I've been with Prize, I think since I've been here since 2020, so it's been a while with Prize.
Thank you all. You can all stand up here.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so we acknowledge the land which we occupy today as the traditional home of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been the caretakers of this land since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient tribes and bands, both federally recognized and unrecognized. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before us, as well as the present-day Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok people.
So today, do y'all need the mic? Maybe for the video, I don't know. But for today, we're gonna talk about who Prize is as a program, as a center, what we do, and what we have to look forward to. And then you get to hear from our instructional faculty and our instructional faculty over here that we just found out we get to be part of. And then also from our students. The cool thing is our whole staff, except for me right now, is like a Prize product. So very cool. And then it'll be time for you all to ask us questions. We are in like lots of new things happening. And so if you have questions or you want to be a part of all the new things that we're doing, we're very happy to hear from you all as well. So, I'm going to start us off just with like the rundown of Prize. How many of you are mostly like have heard of Prize at least? Cool. And you just like want the more infos? Okay, for sure. Okay, so I think one thing to highlight is we are a learning community as well as a center. So when you go into the Unite Center, that's where we're housed. We have a learning community, which is like a smaller cohort of students who start with us their first semester at ARC, and then can continue first and second semester. And then we say like once prize, always prize. So they never really leave us. It's just the cohorted classes are really meant for their first year. But we're also a center that's open to the whole school. And so our funding comes from the recent change in Ed Code, where it's now continuous funding for a NAPI student achievement. So the center is here to stay, the learning community is here to stay, which is very exciting. We haven't been able to say that in years past. So we're now on year 3 of continuous funding. So yeah, the center is now open for everybody on campus. Our student services are culturally affirming. We really want to give students a place where they can be their authentic self and get services for counseling, transfer, career, life things, in a way that recognizes who they are and allows them to kind of build on their own identity. And so that's the main gist of our program. If you're wondering okay, but what do the students actually do year by year? So the first year, like I said, it is the first and second semester. They have to take at least one prize class, and then they have to participate in counseling. So come to see me at least once a semester. Come to see one of our staff members at least once a semester. And then we hope that they can come to our workshops and our trips. We understand they're busy though, so as long as they can make it to, some of them, not all of them. The second year, they're still welcome to all the cultural events. We do a lot of school-wide ones. The staff will share that later with you. And then also, there are still cohorted classes, but they're with the Unite Center. And so what it is they can still take cohorted classes, but there are 4 students in all of the Unite Center learning communities. So the cohorted classes don't go away. They're just more broad with all of the affinity learning communities. And then the third year is, more opportunities for leadership positions, like Sammy is now staff. And then conferences and really working on what's your next step. Sometimes their major just requires them to be here for 3 or more years. But in the case where they might be here a little longer, we'll do that personal reach out and set up a transfer out of here plan or a let's get to your end goal plan. So that's kind of what we do. And then a visual for who is a part of it. There's lots of other people involved in this, but in a general sense, we have a coordinator and a counselor. Right now I'm doing both. If anyone would like to help out, we're ready. And then we also have our classified staff. Right now we're all temp staff. So hi, welcome. So right now our temp staff is Ariana and Sammy. We have peer mentors. So we have Chris, Ethan, and Rini. Rini literally just got hired yesterday, so she's not here. But looking into next year, those will be our peer mentors. And then also our instructional faculty. Right now we have anthropology, ethnic studies, English, and communications. If you don't see your department in there and you really want to be part of this, let me know. We'd be happy to have you. And now I'm going to pass it off to Ariana and Sammy to share a little bit more about the day-to-day because I'm not always here, and they normally are the face of our program, so.
So our member expectations are usually you take 1 prize class per semester during your first year, and then meet with our counselor, Jessica. And also, we have to at least see you at least once, and then join us for at least 3 prize events, which include study halls, workshops, or our cultural events.
here's some of the stuff we've done this semester. So we went to Apahi, which was a really cool conference over in Anaheim, where we flew out like 10 or so students, stayed at like a hotel over the weekend, got to do some like Asian American like cultural like activities, do some college tours, and we got to attend a really cool conference. That was genuinely like an unforgettable experience. It was so cool. We also joined a PETA at another college to tour La California, which is like a historical Chinese town near Sacramento. And recently, just the other week, we had our Anapi celebration where we had Vietnamese dancers from Sac State, we had Burmese dancers, and we just had like a whole nice Anapi celebration month.
So as for what Prize does, here we have a few of our example flyers from some of our events. So we have university field trips and college tours for anybody that would be looking to transfer to some of these colleges. We have study halls through Prize where we'll have catering through ARC, and we'll just kind of have a nice quiet time, give students a time and place to study. That's our big banner of all of our events from fall 2025. And then of course, our counseling with our amazing counselor. It just came out. And then that last poster over there is our conference poster from earlier this year.
I could do it.
Yeah, so let me go back one. I just wanted to explain. These are actually really cool. So a lot of these are collaborations. So like our college tours this year were in collaboration with our transfer center. So it was nice to be able to like get to go to a couple additional colleges we don't always get to go to. As you can tell, like we're all part-time faculty and staff. So getting the chaperoning assistance was super helpful with that. Our Rooted in Rising conference was in collaboration with all of the surrounding Los Rios colleges, as well as Sierra College, San Joaquin Delta College, and Sac State. And so if you were to send students to us, we're going to make sure that they land somewhere. They're not only going to be successful at ARC, they're also going to have connections to Sierra College, to the other Los Rios colleges. If they end up choosing to go down to Delta for, some of them will go down for like additional like nursing or some of the health tech programs over there. And then especially our transfer connection with Sac State. And it really has like allowed us to connect people. So if anyone wants to come in and be like, hey, I'm gonna go to Sac State, or I really wanna go to Chico. We're connected with a lot of the Anapi programs that we feed into, because I get to luckily go to all these lovely statewide conferences and I get to connect with them. So students get to also connect with whoever I connect with. And if they're worried about moving to UCLA or Berkeley, also we have some transfers here. Give it up for them. But we'll find them someone to connect with. We don't want them to leave us here at ARC feeling like, oh, we had all this support here and now who do I go to when I get to my transfer college? So, referring students to us, we would love to have more students in our program, and we do outreach during summer, but sometimes we don't catch everybody, and they get to you all first. And so, the easiest way to connect students with us is if you have time in your first 2 weeks of the semester, and you're like, you know what, I want them to see the United Center, email us and just say like, hey, I'm coming at this time with this class and we want to come see your center. We'll be there, we'll make sure that you get the info, that they feel welcome. We might have some swag packages for you, if that's sentimental. And then you could also just email us because we know the semester gets crazy, and if you have a student in your class who you think would benefit, maybe they're wanting leadership opportunities, maybe they're just struggling to find connections. It could be a range of reasons why you might want to send them to us. Email us, there's our email right there. If you have students who approach you and they're like, hey, like how do I join a program? and you're like, oh, yeah, sometimes the email thing is hard with students because it gets kind of confusing, they can also fill out this Google form. It's on our website, so you can just send them to the ARC prize page, and it'll be like our interest form. And Ariana and Sammy are the ones who answer them. So that is how you can do that. You can also have these slides so that you could just click the link instead of, taking pictures and stuff. But this is our website. And then if they need counseling, here's the link for requesting counseling. It's through a Google form right now because I don't think it's connected to SARS just so that it doesn't fill up too fast. But basically the counseling appointments are for any students who identify as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander. They do not have to be in prize. So the way that the Anabi counselor gets paid is through the state funding, who's supposed to be servicing the whole school. So I'm here for the whole school. I know. And I am the counselor right now, yes. So yeah, that's how you refer students. So now I wanted to pass it over to our instructional faculty so that y'all can hear kind of what it's like from an instructor's side of working with prize. Did y'all want to come over? It's up to you. Yeah.
Hi everybody, sorry, I'm not used to having a microphone. My classes are a lot smaller, although you're probably used to this. Let's see. So, as I mentioned, yeah, I started here at ARC fall 2018, and at the time we were part of the NPC grant, so there was like full-time, everybody, right? It was wonderful. So that first semester in the spring, I was able to teach, I mainly teach first year writing, so like English 300, now English, what is it? C1000, whatever it is. And it's one of the best things that I feel like I've experienced. It's really, I'm super biased. I'm Filipino American, immigrant myself, and I feel like my education, my own experiences is what inspired me to become an instructor, right, and to teach English in particular. And so it's such an honor, honestly, to just be able to help students find literature or find the English classes to be meaningful, and on some level at least. That's what I feel like I always strive for. Of course, it doesn't always happen, right? But the emphasis in the prize courses that I get to have is to be able to choose, writers of Asian descent, right? And really just focus on important issues in the community. And so using those topics to learn, argumentation, right? Like the first year, all the same learning outcomes that all the classes have, the transfer level English. So yeah, I feel like it's a very special when we have a full class. There's been some challenges, right? As we know, really hope Jessica gets a full-time gig here on campus. Just so you know, she needs to be full-time. This is awesome work, and we have not been as great about supporting the staffing. Anyway, that's an aside. But when we do have these classes, I just see the students just get more excited about what they're reading and writing about. And the other cool thing is just the magic that happens. I feel like I see friendships forming all the time. And all of the activities outside of the classroom, that the connections, the thread that is followed up on, right? In one of my research units, students get to choose a topic within the Asian American community that's important to them, that they want a problem, and then it's what solutions would you like to propose based on your research? And students will, we use a book that's written by an Asian American writer talking about all kinds of things, right? It might just be about like their life experiences as a refugee. But a student one of the themes might be model minority men, right? And like that's actually one of the hot topics. A lot of students really, are exposed to that for the first time sometimes, not always. I have students who are way ahead of me and they inspire me and I learn so much from them as well. But what's cool is like, so they'll go and do their research on that. And like last semester, just a few weeks ago, the Unite Center hosted Mark Canero's talk on model minority men. And I'm like, go to that, So it's just, there's all of these things that I feel like I can't always focus on in my regular classes, right? But here, there's this like spoken like language like that. I don't know, rambling, but basically it's just, I feel like it's such a special class always. I look forward to it. Yeah, I'll stop there. Thanks.
Thank you. My experience is similar to yours, Karen, in that my coming to this space as an instructional faculty really was because of two instructors from Sac City College who I leaned on heavily because I was feeling isolated, feeling like I didn't belong at that campus, just feeling kind of lost. And I do want to shout them out. Rod was one of the major folks in my development. Agbunag, who was a counselor. When I came here, and also a counselor, he moved back to Sac City College, which is, where he's with the other homies, which I sometimes envy. But he was a big part in just making me feel like there are other people that look like you here and we need you to stay, right? And there's something that, even though I don't know why, I can't explain to you why we need to stay in communication with each other, like I'm your brother in this space, regardless of what you're going through. And that was important for me. And there was another person, Dr. Angela D.L. Forte, who was a theater teacher at Sac City College, who was teaching ethnic studies through the lens of theater. And I'm mentioning these two people to you because while we didn't call it like Prize or Rise, they did what I think was important to what this program does, is that they sought out community and a relationship between our students and the populations that they may come from. I think the Asian diaspora in general is broad enough where we can generally say, I've gone through that, right? But it is also diverse enough to where we can feel disconnected from each other because there's just so much diversity amongst our ethnicity, right? And what I've found in our classrooms is that we get to see each other on a different level, and where ethnic studies alongside English, I think, allows to be very adaptable to what our students are, who our students are, first of all, and then two, like what they're actually experiencing, which is a luxury in ethnic studies that I don't think they have in like OChem or bio or something else like that. That might be a more stringent, like set piece, but I think for us in ethnic studies, it allows for discussions to take place that are more maybe just like needed or natural for us, and maybe there's like a gap in the experience that they've had so far. Like for example, this morning we were talking about family parties, and this was a closing kind of class, and we were talking about, on the board was like healing strategies. We were talking about intergenerational trauma, which can be a really heavy topic for students to kind of grapple with, but in that classroom was a mixed set of students, and we were talking about the power of aunties being in a kitchen together in chismes. And people started laughing, right? Because they were like, oh, I know chismes. We call it chisme. And it was like other students outside of their own thing. And we started going around talking about like, what is the importance of the, like the elders in our community, our aunties who oftentimes get overlooked in this process of like connecting to culture in kitchen. And it was just like this beautiful moment where we all kind of were in on the same inside joke, right? Without having to say anything or teach anything. Like we were just kind of acknowledging each other in that space as like, I understand what you're saying without you having to break this down on like an academic, theoretical level. The more important part is that we're laughing together. And I think that is oftentimes a part that might get missed with the importance of Prize, is that there's a community there that is sometimes, they don't know they need each other until they find each other, which is, and that may be a huge assumption on my part too. I know we have students who rise and they can totally be like, no, that's not what I felt at all. Disconnected from my coworker. But for me, it's just the experience has been, reciprocal in that sometimes they remind me of things that I need to, which is also community in a space that can feel isolating. right? So that's kind of been like my experience.
Is there anything that you have like hopes for prize for as we go into next year or as we keep building?
I'll echo what Mark just ended on. That community, that's real, especially for where I'm at, you know, in my own career. And just, I think the times, right? We're all so separated, so much like Zoom land is like my life. And that's one of the things that we really try for prize classes is in-person classes, because it's just different when you're in the same room, right? The connection, the relationships that you build, and I think it's so important. And I'm guilty, I'll admit too, selfishly, that's one of the reasons why I like really cling on. I'm like, please, give me out this class. I'll do whatever time you want. It's keeping me going, because I honestly, like, we have some of the most inspiring students, and I don't know, I think partly it's the shared topic and the interest, like they already want to learn more about their cultural backgrounds, their identity, and we have this space where they can do that. They can't always do that, right, in academic classes. Talk about like intergenerational, but also like intracultural conflict, right, like that parents and kids, second generation immigrant, and the conflict, right? Or not feeling like you're American enough in the public, but also not being Filipino enough because you don't speak Tagalog. You understand it, but you know, like we can touch on all of these things and make academic personal. Anyway, I got off track again. I'm hoping we just continue to build it. Again, we really need the whole campus to support this program. The counseling piece is so vital. She's part-time currently, whoever's listening. And the student, the peer mentor, I really, really hope to be more involved myself too. And like just, that's another key component to this, right? Like, you know, we are like elders now. And you speak the students' languages and, you know, can help them with all kinds of other things that they need in order to succeed academically. So yeah, I don't know what exactly that means yet, but building, keep building. Sorry.
Yeah, they referenced me as the millennial elder 2 days ago, which I stood there unsure how to feel about that. I said, yeah, let's move to the next comment then. So to your point, yeah, no, we are aging for sure. That's what's the good thing. But to that point, I think there is a power in generational mentorship, peer-based mentorship, cross-age mentorship. So I think if I had to, like, magic wish list, right, if I could just appropriate grant funds, first, yes, make our staff permanent so that we have more influence on campus for a longitudinal time. The other part of this, I think, if we're going to lean on dual enrollment as a focus, then let's institute our Unite Center at high schools. Let's make sure our recruitment is happening at the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade level so that when they get to us, they're already like in this process of feeling like, I know where my community is. Like I can come from the Tomas or Twin Rivers or San Juan, and like, you know, I know that people got my back once I transfer here, once I make it to wherever the next destination is, but just getting them younger to maybe account for some of that stuff that happens in high school that also gets missed. Because high school is an extremely isolating experience depending on what group you come from or who you connect with or don't, right? So I mean, like just like earlier impact is my goal, I think, for the group, and then just, you know, positive identity development along the way alongside that connection. So it's just like the hope, maybe, is that we start younger. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. We got some grant money left over, so let's do that.
And I'm hoping like more like my projects, you know, like I want to do more service types of learning kind of thing, right? Like the writing assignments, make it useful for the prize or something. I don't know, that's something I've been wanting to discuss, but at some point.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Did you want to sit up? Yeah. Oh, okay, we're gonna let our students settle in up here. And then, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that is a big part of Prize and what makes Prize is the community for everybody, not just students, but for staff and faculty. So I'm going to pass this to, these are all at some point or another Prize students, so you get to hear from everybody today.
Hello guys, it's me again. Okay, so I started, I got out of high school, I didn't know where I was gonna go, so I just picked some random classes with professors that had names that kind of I thought that I would like them. And that ended up being Professor Leong's class and Professor Carnero's class, which is Ethnic Studies. I didn't know that they were prize classes at the time, but I ended up liking the way that they taught the class, which is through the lens of an Asian American Pacific Islander. Because in high school, it was through very much of a Western lens. And that's great and all, but also I want to know what is the experience of an Asian American as someone who is Asian American. So Professor Leong approached me one day and was like, I'm trying to start back up this Asian American Pacific Islander program. I'd like you to be a part of it. And at that time, I just needed a job, so I was like, okay, I'll take it. Then I started working, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing in this program because it was just the two of us, and she was just like, you just have to be the face of it and get other students like you to attend our events or take our classes. And it was really hard at that time because, first of all, it was only two of us. I'm still a student. I'm balancing two things. How do I even get other students to our program? So I just started dragging my friends along, which is Sammy and Ethan, and I was like, please come to our event. And it started with them also dragging our other friends along and then joining Prize. And so yeah, I'm very passionate about Prize. As for opportunity-wise, I was studying to be a nurse, but I didn't want to be a nurse. So through workshops that we do, and also just working in Prize in general, I realized that I really like advocating for the Asian American and also the office environment. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch out of nursing, and it turned into okay, I'm gonna do accounting because it's very similar to an office job. And I was like, actually, I don't like accounting either. And now I'm in marketing because I realized that I like the job that I'm doing right now, and I want to continue that into the future. Yeah.
Alright, so
You don't have to answer all of
okay, so I'll just go ahead and hit the second question because I was thinking of something as she was giving her answer. So a little bit of my background, I was actually a student in the automotive program here at ARC, and if you have seen any of them, you probably haven't because they all kind of live in the automotive building, and you don't really have a whole lot of reason to go explore the rest of campus aside from getting a parking pass, getting counseling. You really do just kind of stay there. And so when it came time that I was at the end of my program and I worked a job in automotive and I realized I don't really want to do that either, then I was like, okay, I'm starting over again, a little bit older than a lot of the intro students, and I am still working on my gen eds. And I really didn't feel like I belonged on the rest of campus. It didn't really feel like I was familiar with the rest of campus. These guys will tell you, I don't know where half of anything is here. Or I didn't when I started here. And that has all changed because of this program. That has all changed because of these people you see before you, because these people have given me a community and helped me feel like I belong when I was out of my time and felt like I was out of my place. I found a place here. And as for opportunities, just being here, being employed as a member of Prize, having Ariana and Sammy drag me along to events and getting familiar with these people, and then eventually saying, hey, we need another employee, would you like to join us? And I'm like, yes, of course, please. So yeah, that's a bit of my experience.
Yeah, thank you. So my time at Prize has been amazing, and I know I'm a bit biased when I say that as I work here, but I truly mean that because for context, I graduated high school in 2024 and started my time here at ARC the following fall, like most high schoolers do. I remember when I decided to go to community college, I was very concerned about the social life and the kind of resources that would be given to students who want to transfer into a corresponding community. And it wasn't until I received an email from, I think, Christasia, who is a former employee at Prize, and shared about a comms class. I think it was Comm 301, Intro to Public Speaking, and it was a Prize cohort class, and I needed one more class, and I was like, you know what, why not sign up for it? And it ended up being like one of the best decisions I made here at ARC. Other than developing, such an important skill, to learn how to speak in front of big crowds, of course, I was able to find a sense of belonging. I'd like to give a shout out to Professor Liz Coleman, as she was the instructor for that specific class. She did a great job facilitating conversation and dialogue regarding API communities and issues, which were incorporated into her lesson plans. And I thought that allowed me not only to really immerse myself in the ARC community, but to, of course, connect with seemingly disparate topics that are typically overlooked in academia, which has historically been very westernized and Eurocentric. And so for that, I think that definitely prepared or spent my time at ARC to be truly profound. And I think in terms of the opportunities that I've been able to access here at ARC, I'd like to mention that the APAHI trip, the Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education Conference that we attended this year, as a first generation college student whose parents are refugees from Laos and Thailand, they don't know a lot about the significance of networking, community, and higher education and what it takes to truly succeed in the world. That doesn't necessarily come to mind within at least my community, right? And at PAHI, I've been able to connect with fellow community members, professors, professionals in higher education, and as someone who is interested in that sphere for a professional career, I've been able to learn kind of like the social and cultural skills that would allow me to enter such a field. And specifically this year, APAHI was in Anaheim, as Sammy mentioned earlier, and truthfully, that trip is incredibly expensive, right? Now with the help of Prize, which basically covered all of the expenses, I was able to do all these things that would benefit my future career for free, which is something that I am eternally grateful for. Before college, I was a very shy student who wouldn't seek out for resources or help, or I wouldn't even raise my hand. Like, I'd always be the kid sitting in the back. But because of my time at Prize, with all the opportunities that I've been given, I feel so liberated and encouraged and confident to be a bold student, leader, and listener in the communities of our Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Native Hawaiian students.
So, joining Prize just completely shifted my community college experience, because I remember my first year in American River College. I noticed that most students come to classes, they attend lecture maybe, and then they leave, and they don't really get involved into student life, or they're not really interested in meeting or talking to people. And I always make this joke, despite being called community college, there's a lack of community, right? And that's when Ariana introduced me to Prize, and I was like, oh shoot, there is genuinely a student life here. There is genuinely people trying to meet people, and there is a community for me. And I just found that really, really cool after seeing crowds of students just leave class and head straight home, and just it really allowed me to be involved in a community, which I really, really wanted to. and I thought that was a really, really like cool experience and legitimately like changed my whole community college like experience, because I have a lot of other friends who, and like I hear a lot of stories from other people who are like, oh, community college was so like boring, like it was just taking classes and just waiting until, you know, you like transfer to like higher education. And I can't relate to that because of Prize. I just found a community, I found like, you know, fun things to do on campus, and it just opened up so many like different opportunities for me via like field trips, college tours, and like Apahi. And the second question was like what opportunities I got to take advantage of. One big one was just having Jessica in the office, just having like a counselor, just because like during like college application season, when I was doing my like my PIQs and stuff, I was just able to like go talk to Jessica, like Chris also, and I do attribute a lot of my like success into getting to my like dream college through like the help of our counselor. And like Chris mentioned, Apahi, genuinely like a life-changing like trip. It was so memorable, it was so awesome. We got to tour like all the colleges. We got to meet so many cool people, and yeah, it was just so we were just given so many like opportunities that I would have never gotten to experience without Prize. And I feel like my community college life would have been so like dull without it. And I'm really grateful for this experience.
Tell them where you're going.
Oh, I'm going to UCLA. Chris, where are you going?
I'm going to UC Berkeley to study political economy and public policy.
To be decided.
I'm in Sac State.
I know we only have like
15
15 minutes left, so did you all, we'll leave the last 15 for y'all to ask us questions. You got all the knowledge. They've been here longer than I have, so if there's any questions, let us know. Or just things you want to do.
You mentioned for the tours for the Prize Center, what would be those hours? Because most of the classes I teach tend to be later in the day.
Yeah, we normally have staffing from like 9 to 5. But what time do you?
Some of my classes finish like 9 o'clock at night, so.
Oh yeah, no, we're not open at 9.
Yeah.
But we could. We're working on like a virtual tour, right? Like a video about Prize, and we have like, I think y'all made one, like a tour of like how to get to us and everything. And we can always like share that with you, so you can share it with your classes, so that they can find us when they're here. Yeah. And then there was a question.
What exactly does Prize stand for?
Yeah. What does Prize stand for? It's long.
Pacific Islander, Asian American, Brazilians, PR, integrity, PRI, self-empowerment through education. It's such a long acronym that doesn't really like follow the acronym rules, and so it's like a whole mouthful.
There it is.
Are they confusing?
It's very confusing. It's Pacific Islander, Asian American resilience, integrity, and self-empowerment through education.
Yeah, I found the bar. I'm sitting for the bar.
Yeah.
If there were some dream classes that you wish you could call out to the faculty to join Prize, what are like the top programs that have not yet joined that you'd love to see? Because we'll be happy to put a little pressure on.
I would say that like we don't really have any of the STEM classes with us. Like we have English, we have communications, ethnic studies, but we don't have math, science, or any of those classes.
You do have fire and throw,
Yes, yes, we do have that.
but you'd like to see maybe more
Yeah, more.
STEM? Okay.
Yes.
We have a lot of students who have to go, like, they're going the bio route, right? Or they're having to take, like, calculus for engineering and stuff like that, and then those are the classes after the job. So I think it would be really cool to have, like, a math section with an embedded tutor, so that there's, like, an extra support. Because it's already a hard class for everybody.
So maybe it's time to chat with some of the deans at a manager's meeting and remind them gently that there's space to grow.
What about like language classes? Like I'm not too familiar with what language classes we offer because we never needed to take it, but like especially we offer like any like Asian or like Chinese or Japanese. If we offer a class like that, if they could be connected to our program, I feel like that'd be like a really cool connection to make.
Yeah, I think Sandy does bring up a fair point about, language classes and how cultural immersion is definitely an integral part of the curriculum. However, I think, actually having students connected to like on-campus resources to essentially supplement that cultural immersion that they learn would be very profound for their educational experiences.
Question for Professor Prieto. So your students who do these projects, are they going to do like a college hour at some point about sharing?
We were chatting, that was another future, hopefully. That would be awesome.
Because there's
They
still
can share.
room fall semester for college hours if your students are available.
That was last semester, I don't price this semester.
We can still contact them and have them come back as alums.
Let's check that. Yes.
They still talk about the projects.
Really?
They'll come into counseling and they're like, oh yeah, I did this project, I think about that a lot. Is that what Asian American Studies is going to be like? And I'm like, probably pretty close.
They're just sad reports. You're talking about the fun stuff. No, it's so sure.
I have a question for the faculty. Do the faculty who teach for Price ever deliberately coordinate themes across classes, or is it just something that happens sort of as an after effect?
We haven't deliberately, yeah, that's a great question. I think a long time ago, before Jessica, we talked about doing more. I think we should. We've talked about collaborating, but nothing, intentional yet, but hopefully.
A lot of good surprises from when the students come back and either classes that they're part of the coordinate system, and they're like, oh, what if this part in our curriculum that seems to match up, but not intentionally.
I think there's definitely lots of potential. I know other learning communities do that. I was part of one at Skyline College where the counselors also sat in the courses, so it was like a whole wraparound, we met regularly and yeah, but more funding over there then. But it sounds like there's more now too here, so.
Megan, is philosophy going to be joining Prize at some point
I'd love to, yeah.
next spring?
Sure.
Cool.
No pressure, just.
No, it's not right. Megan doesn't have tenure yet, so now's the time to ask. Because in a sense, we're not Sac State, we don't offer an Asian-focused philosophy class, but one of the things that we do in anthropology is we keep it's the same topics every week, but I find that we can choose an article that fits in. And I know with philosophy, there's so many fascinating aspects from the Asian perspective that can easily work, especially
It would
as
be very easy to make a section Price focused.
I'm sure. Email me.
Let's do it, yeah. That's why I came.
I'm curious if students have other comments about how faculty and staff on campus can support you all.
Okay, yeah, great question. Thank you. I'd say as both, solely like a former prize student, now prize employee, right? I can definitely speak on like the retention and attendance aspect. I remember when I was in Professor Coleman's comms class, right? There were days where she would take us or dedicate the entire class to attending a prize event. And obviously that was great because we were able to actually, witness what prize is all about and to really indulge with all the good things that they offer to us students. And what I learned was that after the events would end, right, students would talk about it and essentially praise prize and are like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next prize event, I'm so excited. And I think having faculty essentially incentivize students to attend prize events would be a great way to connect students to our community, because I think this past year we struggled a bit, especially in the beginning, with having a decent amount of attendance. However, we've been able, at least us employees have been able to kind of bridge that gap. However, I think we would definitely benefit from greater support from faculty. I know the way you incentivize students to attend events is all up to you. That's your authority. However, at least on my behalf, I'd be more than happy to collaborate with faculty to discuss ways to increase student engagement with prize.
And as a reminder, it's open to everybody, not even just for
Yeah.
students, right? All events.
How many prize students do we have for?
Right now, if we're doing everybody who's still here and previously took a prize class as a first year, it's about 120. Yeah, 120. But then we also have students who never took a prize class because it just didn't work into their schedule. A lot of it is because of the STEM classes don't allow for certain things. And so they end up being part of our prize canvas, but haven't taken the class. But we still count them because they still come to events and they still use counseling and they'll come into the office and ask questions. So that puts it more at 160, 170 right now. Yeah.
Also, another point that I'd like to bring awareness to is that if any of you guys have any ideas on collaborating with prize through a presentation or so, we would be more than happy to deliver that. As you mentioned earlier, we did do a natural model minority myth presentation with Mr. Mark Carnero, which a lot of students enjoyed. I remember receiving a lot of emails and feedback from our students who attended and said that the whole experience itself was very liberating and educational. And that's usually often because not a lot of students have the time to take ethnic studies classes, or that they don't necessarily feel recognized or seen in very westernized curriculum. So for example, Sprieto, if you want to host or if you want to collaborate with prize on delivering a workshop on Asian American literature, right? Certain trends, themes that we've been seeing online and its future implications for academia. I feel that'd be a really great way to incorporate both education and community bonding together within the prize context.
Kind of going off of what Chris said, if anyone, even if you go back to your department and you decide we want to just do a fun lecture on a topic that we are passionate about that has to do with the Asian American Native Hawaiian population, let us know, because that's the big, have y'all seen those big brain Sacramento things where it's just people are going to these lectures and they're at coffee shops and stuff? We're more than happy to host one of those, and it could also lead into promoting your class for the next semester, saying hey, did you enjoy this fun little guest lecture? This is kind of what the experience would be if you took the philosophy class with me next semester, or with ethnic studies next semester. And just sometimes when they're fun, I don't know, the little phrase, like lecture that we could advertise. I would love to bring that in because I do think that was one of the mom and event lecture that we all did together was like one of the top feedbacks we've gotten. At least when I see them when they come through counseling, they'll like it's kind of cool.
Like more of those kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah. So, I like that.
Yeah.
Chris is in charge now. No?
Oh, no.
Oh, there is one other thing I forgot to mention. So, first off, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you here. Next semester, actually next year, we're also going to be starting a Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander leadership cohort. So, we're going to start off with, it'll just be a leadership cohort. It's not going to have classes attached to it yet. And it's going to be once a month on a Friday probably. We're bringing in Epic Bloom. She's a Pacific Islander leadership program who works in the Sacramento County already. She does a lot with Staff Unified. And so she'll be coming in and putting on like a once a month workshop for, we're aiming for like 15 students. If we get more, awesome. But if it's just like a small intimate group first, even better. It won't start probably till September. And so it gives us the 2 months to kind of recruit people. So if you have anyone who ends up in your class and you think would be a good fit, send them our way. You can email us on our emails here.
What did you say the topics are going to be again?
So the topics are going to be, mostly it's going to be like identity building first, and then community leadership on our campus, and finding your place in higher education. And then our goal really is to have that first cohort of leaders go into like student peer mentor positions for what we'll hopefully have like instructional classes attached in the following years. So that's kind of what our new venture on top of continuing to build Prize. And it really is to give designated space and voice to our Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander students, because we are, like you said, we're like all grouped in, and even though there's commonalities, there's also a lot of differences in our cultures and our histories. So that's our next thing. Be on the lookout, help us promote it to your departments. We would love to have more like visibility in classrooms, not just through the United Center.
So exciting.
Thank you all for coming. If you want these slides, I can share them with you, and you can, would that work? I don't know how, or you could just scan this QR code and those are the slides there too.
Yeah, if you want to send it to me, and then I can send it through CTL for the entire campus.
Yeah, that works good.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And anyone who has not yet signed in, please sign in on the attendance sheet for CTL, because we get credit for people who are attending these events. So thank you for that.
Thank you.